Jill Duggar and her legal team are stepping forward today with a revelation that is sending ripples through both the entertainment world and longtime followers of the Duggar family narrative. According to newly released files, Jill's attorneys allege that TLC withheld payments that were owed not only to Jill herself but also to multiple Duggar children during the years the family appeared on reality television. This development is reigniting long-standing questions about fairness, transparency, and the complex power dynamics at play when young children become part of a high-earning television empire. What began as a seemingly wholesome family series has now unfolded into a discussion about contracts, rights, and the long-term emotional impact of having one's childhood shaped by network decisions made behind closed doors. As the documents are examined and analyzed, they paint a picture that feels far more complicated than the polished episodes viewers once saw on screen. Jill's statement through her representatives explains that for years, she believed the arrangement with TLC was handled by trusted adults within her family. Like many children who grow up in the public eye, she had little understanding of legal agreements, payment structures, or the fine print embedded in industry contracts. The expectation, she recalls, was simply to participate, follow direction, and present the family narrative as coordinated by the adults around her. Now, with new clarity and legal backing, her team asserts that significant payments meant for the Duggar children never reached them. Experts familiar with child entertainment law point out that this case mirrors broader industry issues that have persisted for decades. When minors are involved in filmed productions, especially in long-running reality shows, protections must be carefully implemented to ensure their work is compensated fairly and that earnings are properly safeguarded. Jill's situation raises questions about what safeguards were missing and why oversight did not occur earlier. Analysts reviewing the leaked files note that the discrepancy appears to stem from a structure where payments were funneled in ways that did not directly benefit the children who were physically appearing in front of the cameras. Instead, the earnings may have been directed toward other entities or adults. Without the transparent distribution that child labor standards typically require, public reaction to the news has been emotionally charged, not in anger but in concern and empathy. Many viewers who spent years watching the family grow on television express sadness and introspection. They feel they have witnessed milestones, celebrations, and personal struggles, yet now learn that the young individuals at the center of the show may not have been fairly compensated for the very moments that built a successful franchise. Others reflect on how often child performers across various networks experience similar situations, where trust is placed in adults and institutions that may not fully honor the children's long-term well-being. Within the court filings, Jill's team emphasizes that the goal is not to vilify but to correct an ongoing imbalance. The issue extends beyond finances. It touches on autonomy, identity, and the right of a young person to eventually claim control over their own professional history. Jill has spoken before about setting healthy boundaries, redefining her relationship with her past, and seeking stability for her own children. This new legal effort appears to be part of the same journey to restore a sense of balance and truth to a chapter of her life that she did not fully understand when she was growing up. Legal analysts who reviewed the documents highlight that TLC has not yet issued a public response to the latest claims. Historically, networks rely on tightly crafted contracts and legal language that can protect them from long-term disputes. But the optics of withholding payments owed to minors could prompt deeper industry reflection. Some attorneys suggest that, even if the agreements were technically legal, ethical considerations may now be called into question, especially with an audience that has become increasingly aware of the realities behind reality television. For many families who followed the Duggar series, the most compelling part of the story was always the idea of unity, faith, and resilience. Now, as Jill steps forward with this information, viewers are reminded that real-life narratives are often more complicated than the edited versions portrayed on screen. The revelation encourages audiences to reflect on how much responsibility networks have when featuring children so prominently, and whether reforms should be implemented to ensure that young participants receive proper protection from the start. Emotions run high as people discuss the potential impact this may have had on Jill growing up. Childhood should be shaped by learning, exploration, and emotional development, not by hidden financial decisions or complicated legal structures. Many empathize with Jill's courage in pursuing clarity, knowing that revisiting old wounds can be difficult but necessary. The fact that she is now a mother adds another layer of poignancy. She wants to build a different kind of life for her own children, one defined by transparency, respect, and emotional safety. Observers point out that Jill's story also becomes an educational opportunity for viewers who may not fully understand the complexities of reality television. Shows often feel authentic and unfiltered, but the business behind them is intricate. Contracts, intellectual property rights, appearance fees, and production schedules all shape the final product, and those processes can involve multiple layers of negotiation. When children are part of the cast, adults must act with heightened integrity to protect the minors' interests. Jill's revelation serves as a reminder that the responsibility ultimately lies with the adults and institutions, not the young participants. As the legal case continues, there will likely be further discussions about accountability and restitution. Jill's legal representatives maintain that their objective is to reach a fair resolution that acknowledges the work she and the other Duggar children contributed during their years on television. While financial compensation is part of the conversation, the deeper goal appears to be acknowledgement of what was overlooked and the emotional validation that comes when a long-hidden truth is finally addressed. Openly, supporters of Jill describe her actions as a step toward empowerment, not only for herself but for former child performers everywhere. Many believe she is helping ignite a larger movement aimed at ensuring ethical treatment for young stars in all forms of media. Industry watchdog groups have already begun referencing her case as a potential example in upcoming discussions about policy reform and child entertainment regulations. Meanwhile, members of the public continue to reflect on how fame, family, and corporate interest intersect in complicated ways. The Duggar brand became a cultural phenomenon, but behind the scenes, the young people involved were navigating lives that were far more complex than audiences realized. Jill's willingness to confront the past brings those hidden realities into sharper focus, reminding viewers that every media story has layers we may not see. As this situation evolves, the unfolding dialogue invites audiences to consider what fairness truly means in the entertainment world. It encourages empathy for those who grow up under public scrutiny and calls for a more informed understanding of the rights and protections children deserve. Jill's journey forward is not just about seeking resolution but about reclaiming her narrative with honesty and strength. In the closing reflection, this moment stands as an example of how courage and clarity can illuminate even the most complicated histories. Jill Duggar's decision to share these legal findings is not merely about dispute, it is about truth, healing, and building a foundation of integrity for the future. Her story reminds us that even when challenges stem from the past, the steps we take today can pave the way toward fairness, responsibility, and emotional renewal. Thank you for watching.